Hello, 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 everybody. It is so good to see all of your beautiful non-existent digital faces. Welcome to a new installment of Transplanar RPG. Hello, we're so happy to see you all. So this is episode 8 of Arc 2 of our main D&D campaign, and the title of this episode is Riven and Riven and Riven. Very fitting because this is a boss battle where your bodies will be riven and riven and riven, hopefully, by my beautiful monster. So hi everyone, my name is Connie, my pronouns are they, he, and she. I am the GM and executive producer behind Transplanar RPG, which, if you don't know already, is our all transgender, people of color led, 100% homebrew Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition live stream actual play campaign set in a non-colonial anti-orientalist world. You can find me on Twitter at @ByConnieChong and on Tumblr at @and Daddy Issues. I am also a professional GM with Magpie Games' curated play program. And I'm going to pass along introductions before we begin to Erica.
Hi everybody, I am Erica, she, her pronouns, and I play Vinox Scherzo, your elf sorcerer with draconic ancestry and a charlatan background. You can find me on social media platform at Erica New Girl, and you can watch me here on Twitch, where I'm a complete and utter chaos clown, where in one stream I might be dancing to rave music, and within 2 hours I am doing ASMR solitaire. So come check me out, we'll have a good time. I will pass it on to Max.
Hey y'all, I'm Max. I go by they, them pronouns. I play everyone's favorite absentee father, Dewey Quirk.
You mean my dad? Just kidding, I love
You mean
dad.
we all have daddy issues?
D and daddy issues for a reason, y'all. Continue, Max.
You can find me on Instagram mostly at Starchmonger and Stitchmonger. I'll pass it to Devin.
Hello everyone, my name's Devin. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on our Discord server. We've wonderful Discord server full of a lot of wonderful people. Join no matter who you are, where you are. Be as active or inactive as you'd like. Post pictures of your pets, theorize about the campaign, and most importantly, don't mess up the goddamn counting channel. I swear to God, if another person messes that shit up, I'm gonna lose it! We're trying to get to 420 and it still hasn't happened. Which is...
Gay people can't count.
I mean, it's
Gay
true.
people can't count.
See,
Only math gays can count, and I don't know who they are or where they are.
So yeah, come on in and join the community. The link is in the chat. And I'll pass it on to...
C.
Hi all, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I am a dancer, digital artist, and streamer here on Twitch. You can follow me at pi_sharp here on Twitch, or at pi_sharp_art on Twitter and Instagram, or pi-sharp on Tumblr. I do this to confuse all of you intentionally. Not really. You can find me streaming, tomorrow, on pi_sharp, right here on Twitch at 2 p.m. CST. I'm doing a giveaway for anyone who is subbed this month gets a free full color headshot from me, yours truly. It's just like an added bonus of subbing to my channel. So if you're interested in that, jump on in. But otherwise, today I am playing Oka, our blood hunter Aasimar, and I am ready to see if Connie TPKs us. Connie, what the hell else do you have to say for yourself?
Well, I'd just like to remind everyone that we've changed our schedule, so the only piece of programming we have every week is our D&D session, Saturdays at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time. So during this time of transition, we would greatly appreciate your support during this adjustment by continuing to tune in on Saturdays, rating us, so thank you, it's probably okay for that raid, really appreciate that, telling your friends about us, tweeting about us, sharing us on social media, that really helps, word of mouth especially, and of course giving bits, subs, cheers whenever you can. But sub responsibly. So I'm going to pass things back along to C.
Oh yeah, of course, because you cannot forget to check out our promo partners with other queer, trans, and BIMPOC-led streams, pods, and projects by using the promo partners command in chat at any point. And if you're noticing that Devin has a super cute mug with the Transplanar logo on it, you can get one too if you want by using the merch command in chat to get to our Redbubble page. But otherwise, I would love to thank our donors. And by I mean Erica would like to thank our donors.
I swear to God, if you tried to steal that from me, I will come over there, COVID or not. We'd like to acknowledge everyone. Like Connie said, everyone who continues to support us, people who have subbed, gift subbed, resubbed, donated, given bits during episode 7. That was Scruffasis, Erica New Girl, don't know who that is, Fazman91, Rika Honda, never heard of them, Key Squared, Pie Sharp Who, and D and Daddy Issues. Man, y'all got daddy issues. So thank you so much. And as you can see on our beautiful overlay, we have a 25 sub goal. 5 subs grants the party a point of collective inspiration. 15 subs gets us that auto crit that anyone, including the GM, can use. So party, we have to use it before Connie uses it. Coming up soon. And hitting 25 subs triggers a PC backstory flashback. GM Connie will roll a d4, and whoever the number lands on will be pulled into a flashback scene of the GM's choice. Max, please remind us what's going on.
Yeah, as a reminder, you can always get to our recap document with episode summaries and arc summaries at by using the ! recap command in the chat. We're going to bit.ly/transrecap. If you don't want to read it, here's what happened last time. In an attempt to catch the invisible monsters that threaten to eat everyone's memories, V does what she does best, setting shit on fire and not anticipating the consequences of her actions. The town starts to go up in flames, and the monster gets away with the intent on feeding on people. The group flees the growing fire and heads towards the docks on the other side of town, where a ship bearing the emblem of the Uhanahi Research Laboratory has just pulled in. The party runs into the group of scientists who disembark and hash out a rough plan to work together and catch the monster. Oka will serve as bait alongside some sailors who don't think too much of this invisible threat. Hopefully, between the 8 scientists and adventurers, including Rev, they're able to ambush it. And I'm going to pass along to Devin to tell us about today's session.
Yeah, so as always, we have episodes every week, and those episodes have titles, and our titles come from poets, lyrics, all sorts of different places that are written by BIMPOC and or queer and or trans people. So today's episode, as Connie spoiled earlier in the announcements, stealing my job, swear to the gate, today's episode title is Riven and Riven and Riven, which is from the poem Catastrophic Breakdown by Ladan Osman in the book Exiles of Eden. The full verse reads, "The water maintains a boundary. She has salt in her heart, tastes it, feels it pour out of her. Must her flank her riven and riven and riven heart mend it again and again with her distilled desire for the sea."
Wonderful. Thank you so much,
And as
Devin.
I'm reading that cold, I'm noticing that this is just Manaya, and I'm gonna cry.
I wonder if that was intentional. Anyway, moving on to the session itself, some content warnings for our campaign may include addiction, memory loss, fantasy violence, death of loved ones, emotional trauma and baggage, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cult and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks described in detail, poverty and classism, a refugee crisis, natural disasters, and economic injustice. So with those content warnings out of the way, as a reminder, you can access them at any time using !CW. Let us begin. The sunless sky is dimming. The empty houses of the south shore of green open water in the Court of Ravens stand dark against the starless horizon. Torchlight flickers off the troubled eddies of the black tongue. The wet smell of disturbed earth fills the air. Cicadas crawl back into the holes of their cypress trees, and strange colored birds return to roost in lofty branches, singing their sad, baleful songs. And in the middle of this half-abandoned, salt-washed settlement, we see a single house, 2 stories, raised on stilts, filled with light and noise, and the beer-drunk laughter of Wuhanian sailors. The bait house. 4 other houses surround this one, a building to the northwest, the northeast, the southwest, and the southeast, forming a square with the bait house in the middle. Oka, Manaya, and V. The 3 of you lean against this bait house, your weapons at the ready, scanning the other buildings. The 4 scientists from the Uhanahi Research Laboratory have dispersed to the perimeter houses, eager to observe this so-called monster that you claim is stalking green open water. And now your attention snaps to the bridge that connects the south shore with the north shore. Emerging from the darkness are several familiar figures. Dewey, first of all, and then Rev, and then Trout, as well as a handful of other dockhands native to the court, including Tiger. There's something in Dewey's feathered face that makes the 3 of you hesitate. And Trout looks terrified. The sky is getting darker. Within minutes, it will be night. The quote-unquote hydra flayer, as Oka called it, that invisible, many-handed monstrosity terrorizing these innocent people, will soon strike. So tell me, what do the 4 of you do?
As soon as I think they come into view, Oka shifts up from where they were leaning against the bait house, kind of snuffs their cigarette out with their heel, and walks forward to meet them, at a quick clip.
Dewey's jogging along, hurriedly. He's trying to stay calm a little bit, but he's clearly frazzled. It's like, hey guys, here's Rev. Are you sure we want to take this thing head on? It's pretty scary. I saw it. Well,
You saw it?
yeah.
When? Where?
It tried to attack Trout.
Yeah.
And I threw a bomb at it, but
Trout, this teenage girl, she's standing there wringing her hands, and you can see on her knuckles are torn from many years and months of casting nets and being a dockhand. She's wringing her fingers together, and she just goes, there's this horrible huge shadow rearing up behind me, and then I don't remember anything else. There was just this big flash of light, and my head hurts. I don't even really. And then Dewey said something about a monster, but I don't remember seeing anything.
What did you see, Dewey? Exactly. Tell me exactly what you saw.
it just materialized out of thin air behind Trout, and I threw a bomb at it, and then it disappeared. But I don't think it's dead. I think it's coming back for us.
I didn't see anything, and I turned around too. I didn't see it. All I saw was that huge flash of light when he threw that bomb thing.
I swear it was there.
I don't know. Maybe the darkness and the lights playing tricks on you, Dewey. I didn't see anything. But all of you can see that Trout does have like a rather disturbed look on her face. Like her brain's telling her one thing, but her body is having a panic response that she doesn't understand.
Trout, why don't you head inside and take it easy? Put your feet up, try to get some rest. We'll be keeping watch out here, so nothing's gonna happen to you.
Come on, Trouty. These outsiders don't know what they're talking about. Says Tiger, this like rough dwarven woman from the South Shore. She like claps one hand on Trout's shoulder and then continues talking to her in Raven speech, which I don't think any of you can understand. And then Trout responds, and they both look at each other and nod. And unless the four of you have anything else to say to them, Tiger's gonna attempt to guide Trout into the bait house, basically where all the Wuhan sailors are, as well as the remaining other dockhands from the South Shore.
As they walk off, Dewey's like, he turns to the party and is like, I'm not kidding. I swear I saw something. I don't know. I thought Trout saw too, but
I believe you. I think the thing about this thing is that even if Trout saw it, she's probably seen it too many times. You know, it's taken too many bites out of her. I'm sure you saw it. It's good that you saw it. It means it's hungry. And if it's hungry, it's desperate, which is better for us.
And if you were able to see it without any other means to see it, that's very good, because I thought we wouldn't be able to see it.
Based on what Dewey told me, this is Rev speaking, she kind of smells like smoke from putting out the fire, and you see that like some of her feathered like leather armor is like drenched a little from all the water she's been splashing, you know, so it's like a very, very like a firefighter like pinup calendar moment here we got. And she turns to Dewey and says, Dewey was telling me about it on the way over, caught only a glimpse of it, but it matches exactly what you described, V. The necks, the face, the claws, it's huge. There's no way Trout didn't see it, but if what you think is correct, then it can mess with the mind. It seems to be able to erase itself from people's consciousnesses, but for some reason it doesn't affect you. Gestures to you, V, or you. Gestures to you, Dewey. Two of you can still remember what you saw.
That's probably a good thing, but it's still a little bit concerning.
If this is the god's idea of a joke, trying to tell me that some sort of divine intervention is fated. And she sort of spits on the ground. Now what's the plan?
Easy. Bait house. Oka gestures to the house. Light, sound, bodies, minds. We'll be waiting outside, trying to stop it before it gets in, or being there as soon as it does.
Hold up. What are we gonna? We can't let them take it back to the lab.
Oh, don't worry, Dewey. We're not letting them take it anywhere.
Oh, they seem like they want to.
Mr. Kim, who has been standing nearby Oka this entire time, sort of like flicks at the brim of his hat, like revealing that one silver eye, you know, and the one gold eye. And he's got like a hand-rolled cigarette clasped between his fingers, and he says, "If there's anything I know about these eggheads, is they're definitely gonna be taking this beastie home."
Manaya crosses her arms and says, "Thou have to pry it from my cold, dead hands.
Hey.
Undead hands."
Look, I don't know what you've got against this thing, and frankly, I don't care. But I'm sure these eggheads can come to an agreement. If you wanted to ask this thing questions or try to, you know, learn more about it, yeah, just let them have it after. They're pretty insistent on getting their way.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with the bet, okay, pal? Just let us do our work, and you can have what remains. Which probably won't be much. Oka like turns and mutters under their breath.
Well, we'll see just how competent the four of you really are, to see if I even need to step in to intervene in the first place, though I have a suspicion I might. And he flicks the cigarette out of his hand.
Manaya walks up and says, "This is my prey. Help if you'd like, but it's mine."
Like I said, whatever tragic backstory situation you've got going on over there, look, I've got plenty of scars too, okay? Plenty of skeletons in my closet. I'll let you have this prey, but you also have to know. And he sort of leans in, and you can like smell the tobacco like off his like breath. You can like sort of like see like his eyes like glittering in like the low dark. And he leans in and says to you, Manaya, "The URL tends to get their way in the end. Trust me on this." And he leans away from you.
Yeah, well, the URL can eat my fucking shorts, so shut it.
He turns and sort of eyes you. Are you wearing shorts?
No.
He like he raises an eyebrow, and you can see like one eye like lingering on your butt. And as that's happening, Rev just sort of goes, so, Dewey, you said something about other researchers. That can't be the only guy, right? He doesn't look very smart. He's pointing at Mr. Kim. And Mr. Kim, like, snaps his gaze away from Oka's butt and says, hey. And Rev just goes, offense intended. Where's the rest of the researchers, Dewey? Did you say that they dispersed to these 4 houses? And she gestures toward the north and the south, west and east.
Mm-hmm. They're surrounding the bait house. So if we want to get the thing away from them, that'll be a little bit difficult.
Dewey, this thing attacked Trout while it was separated from us. That means it has some degree of intelligence. If it's invisible, clearly it can see what we're doing here, right? Like, and all these people inside, sure, it's tasty, but if it knows there are people in the other houses, don't you think they're kind of... And as soon as she says that, all of you sort of hear, like, some shouting, a little bit of commotion, coming from the southeast. Let's see. I've put these researchers in their particular buildings. Coming from the southwest building, which is where all of you saw Dr. Sato head off to. She was the half-orc woman with the braid, the very, like enthusiastic and friendly one, right? And she had introduced herself as the hardware specialist, the person with the device that can, like, detect this monster, or so she claims, as long as she makes the correct adjustments to it. And all of you, like, hear, like, a scraping as, like, a window from that building opens, and she's maybe like 30-40 feet away from you, and you could see, like, her head, like, poke out of the window, and you could hear, like, some like beeping noises from within, from, like, some unseen device, and some, like, random flashes of light occasionally, like, silhouetting her. And she just goes, it's here.
Manaya, we got this. Okay? Showtime.
Okay. And with that, Dr. Sato points to the northeast building across the way from her. She goes, I saw it flash on my monitor right over there. You have to go, Dr. Pelpone. She's in danger. And Dr. Pelpone, you remember, is the half-elf woman with ponytail, glasses, who was, like, the cultural consultant, right? Like, very into the Court of Ravens culture. And, like, very into speaking in Raven speech, even though the people here prefer common when dealing with outsiders.
Manaya nods at Oka and starts running.
And the rest of you?
Oh yeah, we're there.
Yep, following.
Yeah, Dewey's making sure Trout is, like, off to the side. Not going to get caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, Trout and Tiger have both disappeared into the bait house. They're, like, indoors, like, with the... And, like, as you went, like, this happened, like, a couple moments ago. Like, as they opened the door, you got this, like, waft of, like, sailor musk, you know, and, like, salt-drenched boots and whatnot, and, like, beer that they've cracked open, you know, and whatnot. And then, like, they closed the door, and the sailors were like, ah! You know, as, like, Tiger and Trout and the rest of the court denizens came in. But as the 4 of you rush over to the northeast building...
And,
go ahead.
And Manaya's also going to look back and say, Rev, you with the funny eyes, watch the house. We'll be back in a moment.
Yeah, so Mr. Kim just sort of goes, your funeral. But he, like, leans against the bait house, and Rev sort of stalls, and she goes, are you sure you don't need backup?
Are we sure we don't need backup?
We'll call if we do.
All right, stay safe. I know you can't technically die here, but it still wouldn't be easy to bring you back to life if your head's removed from your torso.
Thank you for that charming image. Working now. Thank you.
Or if you were, like, torn apart from the inside.
We're gone.
Rev.
Or eaten alive. Okay, and Oka's gone at that point. All right, so as the 4 of you draw up upon this northeast building, everything seems fine, you know? In fact, it seems quiet. Almost too quiet. And as you approach, the 4 of you hear, like, a thumping from inside. What do the 4 of you do?
I mean, Oka's right for the door. Like,
Manaya's there, getting her boot ready.
Mm-hmm.
Dewey V, are you hanging behind?
Yeah, I think I'm I'm debating whether or not to just pull out the true sight gem that Dewey gave me, but I'm gonna wait. I think and just give it. I'm gonna have it at the ready if I need to look through it.
Cool, sounds good. So Dewey and V, the two of you, hang out from behind the door frame. But Oka charges in, followed quickly by Manaya. The two of you fling this door open, and you see something very odd. The furniture in this space has been pushed up against the walls, though that doesn't seem to be like because like something charged in and like destroyed it. It seemed to be like very purposefully pushed up against the walls. Likely Dr. Pelpone did that to clear a space in the center for herself. And Dr. Pelpone is in the center of this living space, maybe the size of like a two-bedroom house, like living room. And she is on her back on the ground. Appears to be pinned down by something you can't see. Like she's struggling against what appears to be like an invisible assailant or something. And she's like, doesn't seem to notice the two of you rush in. Oka, what do you do?
I'm letting my culling edge like creep right from the elbow, or maybe it's like they reach through the air above her, you know? And as they do, the sword like comes right out from their elbow.
Sounds good. Manaya, are you also readying your axe?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Dewey, V, you also see this from beyond Oka and Manaya's like bodies. What do you do?
Dewey's gonna he's gonna try and keep an eye on the windows, other exits possibly, but like stay within eyeshot of V and Manaya and Oka.
Sounds good. Dewey, you see several windows made of glass with like they seem to be able to open and close with a latch. You also see from beyond like a staircase leading up to like a rather like a ramp case, like a big smooth ramp case leading up to a second floor. And you see you're not sure if there's another door deeper within. If it is, it's probably on the other side of the house. What about you, V?
I'm gonna go ahead and cast minute meteors to make 6 orbs swirl around me.
What does it look like as they spring into existence?
I'm gonna have like a bunch. I'm gonna have each little ball of energy pop out of my glove and then swirl around me, and they just get bigger and bigger until they're little fiery meteors swirling around me in orbit.
Heck yeah, you're like you know like a sun, and these meteors are moons orbiting around you or planets, and we hear like a and like there's like magical powers like emanating off of these meteors as they begin to like orbit around you. And in that moment, Oka, cutting edge just like rips off of your body like from the tattoo and like forms in like a sharp edge down your arm. And as that happens, all of you see Dr. Pelpone like pause and struggling. And I need all of you to roll initiative.
How am I going to come to a D&D session and not have my dice ready? I swear to God.
We haven't gotten to fight anything in a while.
16.
True.
I got a 3.
Dewey ain't doing shit.
Okay, so Oka got an 11. Who got a 16?
Me, V.
V got a 16. What did Manaya get? Okay, what did Dewey get?
Actually, I got a 5. I forgot.
5. Okay. And Devin, what did Manaya get?
21.
Wow. Okay, 21. So Manaya will go first, followed by V, Oka, and Dewey. So Manaya, you go first. What do? You can't see anything except for Dr. Pelpone struggling on the ground.
Wait, we already did like when Oka reaches through it. Did we get there yet? I thought that I was stabbing something right now. Like before that. Like currently.
Okay, sorry, I was confused. I thought you were just like
I could just let it out.
Okay.
I could just wield it. That's fine.
Sounds good. Let's say you just it just comes out to the side instead of you like stabbing it. So Manaya, what do?
She's gonna turn to V, who has the orb, and say, V, the orb. And just take a horizontal sweep above the doctor.
Okay,
Above the professor.
Sounds good. So I need you to make an attack roll with disadvantage. So roll it twice and take the lower number because you can't see this thing technically.
Okay. 1, 2. Huh. 8.
Okay. So with an 8, that is not quite gonna peg it completely. So how we're so to the audience, we're doing something a little different, a little cool with our combat. We're doing something a little bit more experimental, a little bit more cinematic, a little bit more fast-paced and deadly. So Manaya, you can go ahead and roll damage with your axe as normal with an 8. First, tell me how that resolves. But just know that an 8 is not sufficient to hit to fully hit this thing.
$12.
Okay. So are you just swinging it down like a baseball bat? Like, in what direction are you cleaving? Horizontally, like trying to bisect it. Okay.
Yeah.
Your axe catches on something invisible, right? Like, it's like you swing it and then you meet resistance where your eyes expect to meet air above Dr. Pelpone. And as you do, it's like tough, whatever it is. It's like cutting into the side of like a rhino or something. It's really heavy and very dense and almost feels like muscular, right? But then you cut and then whatever the resistance is, it pops free, and there's a flash of a horrific sight before it vanishes, Manaya. You see this creature flicker briefly into existence, and you, for the first time, see it. V and Dewey had seen it, but now Oka and Manaya, it's your turn to see it in its full glory. It is large, is the first thing you notice about it. It almost fills the entire space. It's very big. It's maybe the size of like a baby elephant or something. And there's like a central pale, fleshy, like slightly armored skinned like mass that appears to be like its torso or something, from which extends 8 necks. Long necks, but they're very wiggly, like not like stiff like a giraffe's, but almost like a worm's. Like they can all like sort of like they're moving like tendrils, like eels, like stuck like in like the bottom of the ocean. And at the top of each neck is a horrific, like bald, like pale face with like sunken hollow sockets and like big mouths with like sharp teeth, like crying out. You hear it now in pain or agony, and you see what you've done. You have severed one of the necks, just by pure like chant and your brute force with your huge axe. You've cut one of its heads clean off. You've bisected one of its necks, and as it does, like black blood like sprays from that stump. It's not red, and the smell is it's similar to the smell from those like hand creatures you fought while like protecting the Quay. It's similar to the smell of like those horrible chicken boys in our very first episode that you like slashed to death. This thing is a cataclysm beast. It is not from Andake. It is here to you're not sure exactly why they're here trying to wreck shit, but you do know that they're here to wreck shit, so you have to stop them. In that moment, you see it all the remaining 7 mouths are open, and you hear them screaming in a horrific chorus. Like it's all like discordant, like voices all mashing together. And then it's gone. It's not like it's turned invisible, right? There's no shimmer, there's no like illusion magic here. It's just gone. Like your brain, like you're like, I know it's there, but your brain is telling you, nope, there's nothing there. Like there's something going on with it, that it's not invisibility, it's just there, and then it's not there anymore. And even though you saw the black blood spray everywhere, and you see some of it on the ground, your brain almost can't compute the fact that the blood came from somewhere, right? But the good thing is, something that helps like anchor you to reality. As soon as that severed neck with the head is on the ground, it like rolls through the air and it like hits onto the ground with a wet, slimy thud, and it like rolls away. Dr. Pelpone screams. And this thing, you don't see it move because it's gone now. But Manaya, there is red hot pain on your left arm. Let's say you're wielding like you were like slashing it. So let's say like you're like turned in such a way. So your right arm suddenly like screams in pain as what feels like something bites you. Something you can't see is chomping down on your arm. So why don't you roll 1d6 for me?
6.
Okay, you're gonna take 5 points of piercing damage and 6 points of psychic damage from that bite.
Okay.
So that
Cool.
is, what, 11 total, I think?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So Manaya,
I have.
what else do you do? Yeah.
Well, she's gonna take her extra attack. Oh, wait. Pause game. This is important.
Oh boy.
Manaya's at 69 health.
Oh my
Ah,
god.
nice.
So we're done here, right?
So we're done. Yeah. Thanks for coming to the stream.
Didn't we beat D&D just now, then?
I think you
think
did.
so.
You beat D&D. So Manaya, what are you gonna do?
She's gonna take her extra attack, to basically turn her axe around and with her left arm leading, do like an upward slice, where she saw another head.
Sounds good. So roll them bones.
Still disadvantage.
Yeah, because you can't see it.
Right. 12.
Okay, a 12 is still not gonna quite hit it, but why don't you roll damage like we agreed?
Mm-hmm. 17.
Okay, that is good. That is enough to take off another one of its heads. So
Oh,
Manaya,
it's still here. Okay.
Yeah, it's still in the room. Yeah. So Manaya, why don't you describe to me what it looks like as you chop up? Like, it only appears when you make contact with it. Let's say it only flashes into existence briefly. So what does it look like? Paint me a word picture.
So the horizontal slash is sort of the safe bet of like it's on top of this person, and as soon as it cuts through the first head, and Manaya feels that searing pain. She maybe yells a little bit. She's like, "Ah!" But then with a renewed determination, in the same stroke, she sort of spins her axe around, and with her left hand leading, pulls the next strike up, and cuts diagonally into the next head.
Were you trying to get the one that was biting you? Or the one next to it?
Whichever was the closest head, which I guess was the one biting me.
Sure, sounds good. Yeah, you try, and all of you see for another brief moment this horrific monstrosity, like something that crawled out of the depths of a well in your nightmares, flashes into existence, thrashing black blood sprays onto your body, Manaya, because you're right up on it, and your face is plastered. It's like a squid, like squirting ink at you, and some of it gets on your nose, and you smell like, it's odd. It smells like nothing at all. And then it disappears, and the wall in front of you explodes outward, like it's crashed through it completely.
Oh.
Yep, like it's trying to get the hell out of there. So like all of you like feel like a gust of wind come in, and you see the starless dark night sky beyond it. You see like, you know, in the distance, maybe 50 feet away, that bait house, you know, like with the beer and the laughter and the mirth and the stories and the sailors and the people you're trying to protect right now. And all of you see like the debris like explode outward, and you see like in the grass and the mud indentations of like 4 large clawed feet and hands squelching its way right toward that bait house. So Manaya, do you have anything else you can do?
Yes, I have an action surge, 1 per short rest. So she's gonna book it forward, and yell, "No, you don't!" And instead of slashing it with her axe, she's actually going to put her axe in her right hand and attempt to grab at it and basically grapple it to the ground. Yeah.
Right, without seeing it though, right? Okay, so yeah, go ahead, make a grapple check. Are you gonna mostly be using your strength or your wily body dexterity like to do this?
Oh yes, Manaya is so dexterous.
What do
She's
you think,
actually,
Connie? What do you think?
She's
Connie, what do you think?
Hey,
her
fuck
time
off,
in clown school.
Okay, you know what, Manaya, fuck off.
Make calling me out.
Make it an athletics check with disadvantage, let's say.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Oka.
Yeah.
Could you use the auto crit? Could you use the auto crit to grab it?
Let's see how the roll first
Yeah,
pans
yeah,
out.
yeah.
You can use the auto crit after I tell you like how it'll pan out if you want.
That'd be a 17.
Okay, a 17 is going to be a sound success. So it won't be
Yeah.
like a crit, right? Obviously, because you didn't crit, but you will do what you set out to do. Are you happy with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Sounds
Not too
good.
bad.
Okay, so you launch yourself, like, without being able to see where this thing is, just forward, right? Like, through the hole. So you soar, Manaya's, like, body, like, trench coat, like, flapping in the air, right? Soars forward,
I mean, it's crop top now.
yeah,
but-
crop top trench coat flapping in the air, axe in one hand, and your arms. Were you trying to go for, like, a neck or its torso?
Probably as many necks as she can get around.
Right, like a bundle of
get her arms
asparagus.
around. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. You run forward and you're big, right? But this thing is also it's bigger than you for sure. And there's like specific rules about grappling creatures bigger than you in D&D, which is mostly you can't. But whatever, it's cooler this way. So you can't grapple the whole thing, but I'll let you grapple with the 17, let's say 3 of its heads. Well, its necks are pretty thick. Let's say 2 of its necks feels accurate and fair to me. So you feel like your arms going around it feels like 2 thick tree trunks, right? That are like moving and thrashing wildly under you, and you grab onto it, and your knees bump into something fleshy but also kind of hard, which you ascertain is like its torso, and you begin to move, as it's struggling against you, right? So with your action surge to grapple, that was a success. You have slowed its grappled now, which means its speed is 0. It can't move forward anymore. So are you like digging your heels onto the ground
Yeah.
as you're Okay, cool.
Into the ground, yeah.
All of you see like Manaya like holding on to something barely, like her arms are like straining. So Manaya, do you say anything as you're holding this thing fast?
I'm just gonna yell back specifically to Oka, just like in between like grunts of trying to hold this thing back. She's gonna yell back, Oka, other heads, there, go.
Oka's on it.
Sounds good. Next we go to V.
V's gonna chase out of the whole chrysalis cloak flying through the air. Going to see, because this thing is like is trying to escape the grapple on the can I like see sort of the things like kicking up dirt and stuff? Like, is it making tracks from trying to pull out?
Yes, it's definitely making tracks. You can see like gouges, like something's like rending the earth around it. You see like pebbles and like mud, like kicking up all around Manaya.
So I can get a good sense of like the center of this thing. Really, is what I'm hoping.
It's hard. If you would like, I can allow you to make like a perception check to see if you can like hone in on where it is, so you don't get disadvantage on whatever you're trying to do next.
Let's. No, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna see.
Go for it.
I'm gonna use my old friend I haven't used for a while, Chromatic Orb.
Ooh, we miss her.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna cast at level 2 actually to add a little bit of damage die. I'm gonna create again because Manaya is like attached to this thing. I don't want to. I'm gonna use ice, like cold damage. I'm gonna make a cold orb and just go ahead and chuck it at what I think is the center of this body.
That's an attack roll, right?
Yes.
Go for it. That's gonna be with disadvantage because you can't see it.
Yep, with the disadvantage, it is 11.
Okay, that's not quite gonna cut it. So how about this? You can roll damage as normal, and then I'll give you a choice.
Okay, well, I rolled the damage with it, so
Great.
18.
18 cold damage. Okay, that is sufficient, let's say, to freeze one of the necks, like in place with that cold damage. But here's the thing. This thing is either gonna be able to try to resist that, like as you're throwing it, it's gonna try to either like wiggle out of like Manaya's grasp, or some of that frostiness is gonna splash onto Manaya as well. Your choice.
I'm gonna let the frost damage hit Manaya.
Okay, sounds good. So what's the damage die on Chromatic Orb? How much do you roll at level 2?
Transplanar RPG is a PvP
For-
enabled zone.
For a level 2, it is 4d8.
Okay, so roll 2d8 for against Manaya.
All right, I'll try to use my unlucky die. Manaya. 10.
Okay, 10. So
Okay.
Manaya, you take 10 points of cold damage. All right, you got this. You got this, girl. You
I
can
re-
absorb it. You're a tank.
I
From
ruined the
69
69.
to
I'm so
59.
sorry. It's 59.
So V, what does it look like as? So it's odd, right? Like ice crystals form in midair and encase like in like a tube shape, ending in like a round head, almost like it is like a head of asparagus, a sprig of asparagus, but it's encasing something that invisible, something that you can't see, right? Like you just formed an ice sculpture that's floating in midair, right? So what does it look like as some of it splashes onto Manaya?
Let's just say the neck I hit starts freezing up, but it's like thrashing around, and it ends up like thrashing itself like onto Manaya's shoulder and spreading like onto Manaya's shoulder a little bit.
I love that. Yeah. Manaya, is it your injured arm or your non-injured arm?
If V is coming from the opposite side, I think Manaya's are over on the right side where V's on the left. So it'd be her left arm.
Sounds good.
Just the non-injured one.
As the crystals are forming, right, invisible, and you can see it like it's freezing it. So like the part that it's freezing like can't move, but as it's like working its way up this thing's like neck, the part that can move thrashes suddenly and collides with you just as it freezes. So like cold like icicles like sprout from your shoulder, forming almost like a spiky like pauldron made of like rime and frost coming from your shoulder. So is there anything else you can do, V?
I'm like, Manaya is so close to stuff. I'm gonna take my bonus action to throw 2 meteors at this creature.
Sounds good. Is
and
that
I'm
also
gonna-
attack?
It actually, I'm gonna choose. It's actually for the creature. It is just a Dex save.
Cool. Against what?
Against 14.
Okay.
Yeah, Dex.
I think it has disadvantage on dex saves because it's grappled. I need to check that though. I don't know if it automatically fails or it just has disadvantage. It actually doesn't say anything, but it makes sense to have disadvantage while it's grappled. Okay. So I'm sorry, could you repeat the DC?
Yeah, it's 14.
Good thing it had disadvantage. So yeah, it fails. So what does that mean?
So it is going to take basically, since there's 2 of the meteors, a total of 4d6 damage of fire damage.
Yeah, so roll that. Fire damage. Damn. Go for it. That's a lot.
Fire and ice.
Are you trying to target the one you can see in addition to this? Like the one like
Well, I'm also trying to get it further enough away from Manaya that it hits the edge of this creature without actually trying to hit Manaya as much as possible.
Cool, it sounds good. So like maybe like some its torso or some necks on its periphery that you can maybe try to see based on the scuff marks. Okay, sounds good. So roll damage.
So that is 16 points of fire damage.
That is enough to take out a one of its necks. Another neck. So you choose. Do you want to like maybe like blast the frozen one and like have it explode, or do you want to like try to hit it invisible? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So describe to me what it looks like.
So these 2 fireballs are let's just get real cinematic where it's like we're spinning around and they're spinning opposite of each other, and then they're gonna collide right into this frozen thing, and you just see it just shatter in an explosion of fire and ice parts, and the head flies. All of a sudden the
Head
explosion, the
appears.
head just flies at the camera.
Yeah, it flies. Ooh, it's like Transplanar 3D. Put on your glasses. Everyone's munching, like
Right.
Scruff's munching on popcorn in the back, and woo, like drops the
Exactly.
popcorn. Okay, yeah. This thing like lunges at
That's
the
part
camera.
of it.
Like,
We just cut to Scruff eating in a movie
yeah,
theater
movie exactly.
with 3D glasses on.
Go like, oh, that almost got me. That's my Scruff
And then
impression.
cut back.
Okay, yeah, then we cut back. Yeah, as you see, it's like the ice shatters and you see bits of like flesh, like disgusting, like encased in ice, like rain down, and its head like rolls off to the side, and you see like it's like bald, pale skin and its socket staring like blankly, and its big like teeth just like open as it's just dead on the ground. And you're also sprayed with some of this blood. And again, you notice it doesn't smell like anything at all. It's like you've just been like splattered with like void matter or something. There's a specific absence of smell. Right? It's not that it smells. There's no smell. There is a absence of smell that hits you. Is that what you do, V? Or do you see your turn?
Yep, that's it for me.
Sounds good. So next up is going to be our lovely, dovely Oka Shmoka.
All right then. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Oka, I think maybe why it has taken them so long to move is that as they kind of are like running out of the shattered building, they're going to. Okay, let me know if this will or won't work. I want to mess up all my Blood Hunter things as per usual and not do them right. I'd love to like for Oka to like one of the severed heads is still on the ground next to Dr. Pelpone. And Oka is going to just like reach into it. If possible, I would like to use my brand of castigation on like to like pull like use its blood that's still there. Because technically, okay, I'll read to you what it says and you'll tell me if I have to actually hurt it myself or if a severed head counts as part of its body. When you damage a creature with a Crimson Right feature, you can choose to sear an arcane brand into it. It requires no action. What I will always know the direction of the target, and when the target deals damage to me, an ally within 5 feet, it will take damage equal to my intelligence modifier. I'm basically trying to connect myself to it using my brand of castigation through its severed head.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Fucking excellent. So Oka will like take like the blood on their fingers and like make us like just like a circle on the inside of their lip as they like bite their cheek a little bit so the blood commingles. And they now like an arcane brand would like be seared into the inside of one of its mouths at least, the creature, and I will now know the direction of it, of like its body, of its heart, I assume. And anytime it damages any of my allies within 5 feet of me, it will take damage. And that does not require an action.
You could just do that. Okay, so I think what happens... Can you unmute yourself? Good, thank you. So I think what happens is, as you draw this sigil, Manaya and V, the two of you outside on this thing, see like boom, like a seal appear in midair that's like moving. That's like thrashing from side to side, like moving, but you don't see what it's attached to. So, okay, describe to me what the seal looks like.
It would be the same seal that they seared into their own chest, which would be 2 antlers crossed, surrounded by a dragon.
Very cool. That's what you see, and you instantly recognize it to some shit that Oka would pull. So Oka, what do you do now?
Great. Oka is going to fucking run right out of there and is gonna like leapfrog over Manaya. Let's see. Every time we heard it, it kind of flashes into existence. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Excellent. Well, okay. I think what I'm gonna do is I am gonna like leapfrog over Manaya and just kind of like stab down into it. And it's not a slice. It's like I'm trying to stay there, like with the idea that if the blade is still in it, it will like appear.
Are you trying to target one of its necks or the torso?
The torso.
Sounds good. And I think because you have Brand of Castigation, you will not have disadvantage on this attack roll because you know where it is, based on your Blood Hunter instinct, but the rest of you will still have disadvantage unless you can do something similar to what Oka is doing. So yeah, go ahead and roll to attack, right? With your culling edge.
$17.
That hits it. So go ahead and roll that damage, and you also do what you set out to do, which is that little extra oomph, right? Because you hit it, which means you're able to hold on to it, and you're able to, let's say, instead of make it like appear all the time, it will flicker intermittently. You know, like where you're in like a horror, like a haunted house, and they're flicking the lights on and off, and like the chainsaw murderer gets closer and closer and like jitters all over the place. That's sort of like the effect we're going for here. So let me know once you have that damage.
Yes, I believe I don't have any of my Crimson Rights activated, so I believe it's only 15 points of damage.
Okay, 15. Because you didn't target one of the heads, you don't take one of the heads off, but that means you're lodged like fully into its torso and you're riding this thing like a bucking bronco. So like 2 of its heads, you can sort of see like Manaya off to the side is like anchored to the ground, and this thing is trying to thrash, but now it's got 2 of you on it. Like you on its torso with your culling edge, like planted into it like a flag, and Manaya like anchored like her arms straining that like that pauldron of ice like melting a little like onto her neck. So Oka, what do you do next?
I want to use my bonus action to use my Blood Curse of Binding, where I can attempt to bind a creature I can see. So this would be like at the same moment that like it is flickered into existence for me, that I can see. It has to make a strength save, and I'm going to amplify it so I can disregard the size of the creature, and it will last for 1 minute instead of 1 turn.
Sounds good. So what's the DC it's trying to hit?
13.
Strength save? I don't think it gets disadvantage on it because it's being grappled because it's not a dex save. 13? Okay. So I'll offer you a choice. It did make that save, but let's say it doesn't just mean like it doesn't work. Let's say it will either be unstable or temporary. You choose.
What if I tied myself to it?
What do you mean?
Like, instead of binding it, I bind myself to it?
So it can't buck you off?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, let's go with that. So what does it look like as you tie yourself to this thing?
I think it actually like comes up from the culling edge. I'm gonna take my damage away from doing that because I'll need to in a second when I don't need to actively be doing math. It's like the rope of its own blood and my blood, so like gold and black blood mixed together that like comes up from Oka's arm and like ties around their arm and also like goes up their shoulders and onto their body and around like whatever they can see of it until like they're basically like spider webbed together.
I like that. I think maybe because it did well. Okay, how about this? It's lassoed around the entirety of its torso and up like a couple of the heads, right? So you can kind of like guess where a couple of the heads are, you know, and Manaya's got another 2. So all of you now have a pretty good idea of what this thing looks like based on like the blood and the seal and Manaya and Oka, right? So let's say that it works. It now can't buck you off is what that means, is what you've done with your with your Blood Curse of Binding. So is there anything else you do next?
I have an extra attack.
Jesus Christ. Okay, go for it.
Yes. I can't use another bonus action, can I?
No, you get 1 per turn.
Okay, that's fine. I think Oka just kind of like reaches in deeper with their culling edge. So I will just. That was a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay. That won't be quite enough to hit it, but again, roll the damage and it will get a reaction. It will get to do something. It gets an opportunity.
13 points of damage for it on that one.
Okay, and you're not targeting like a neck, right? You're like twisting it deeper in the torso. Okay, so instead of taking off a head, like taking off a 4th head, because I think the all of y'all combined have taken 3 from the 8 so far. You gouge. So what does it look like as you're gouging into its torso?
I mean, it's gross. Oka's hand just goes deeper into nothing, you know? Like they just go deeper in. And like I think the ropes, like I don't know if they would be able to wrench their arm out of it at this point, is maybe where that like its save came from, you know, that it made the save on the Blood Curse of Binding, but they like get deeper in.
Cool. And I think as you get deeper in, you feel something. Something kind of like hot, almost like but not like fire, almost like a divinity. And you realize a beat too late what it is as you're digging around in there. You can feel the pulsing, writhing, terrified mass of a bunch of trapped souls inside this thing. And your hand is like inches away from holding on to someone's soul. Like this thing's torso, it's so big, is a soul sack, and it's got like, you can just feel where you are, like up there, like it's got dozens of souls packed into its body, like so many, Oka. This is definitely the most you've ever felt pulsing through you. So is that the end of your turn?
Yes, that is the end of my turn. A thing to note, and I'll try to remember this too, is that whenever it deals damage to me or an ally of mine within 5 feet of me, it will take 2 points of damage.
Okay, sounds good. Good to know. So as the reaction that it gets, because you didn't quite hit it, the opportunity that it's gonna seize is it's gonna wrench itself out of Manaya's grapple. Like, Manaya, you can't hold on any longer. Like, lactic acid is like coursing. This thing is like tough. This thing is like a fucking like wild stallion. You know what I mean? Like two that you're like grabbing around their huge necks, right? Like 30 hands big, or however big a big horse is. Is that too big, C? Way too big? Okay. So you let the 15 hands, whatever. And the necks, you can feel it. You can't hold on any longer. They wrench themselves out of your grasp and like rear up. And it's going to it's gonna start running. But Manaya, because it's moving out of range of you, you get an opportunity attack if you would like. Are you gonna take that opportunity attack, Mushnaya? I see that devilish grin on your face.
And I think you might have an idea of what's about to happen.
Oh boy, what? I have no idea what's about to happen.
Auto crit, auto crit, auto
I'm
crit,
going to use it.
auto
I'm
crit.
going to use the auto crit. Manaya is going to take out a knife. A medium-sized knife. The self-same knife she used to cut her hair on the plains of the Republic of Talmud on their way to the Commune of Morose. The self-same knife that she carved herself in memoriam of her mother. She's going to yell. She's going to take the knife and dry it between her teeth, soaking it in saliva and the remains of a chewed up leaf that she's had in her mouth. Yell, stop, and plunge it into this beast. But before that happens, yelling stop, and I'm going to take some liberties here, Connie. As she yells, those self-same golden veins crawl up her neck and down her arms, and her eyes glow green and orange as when she goes to stab this thing, she casts her first spell, Booming Blade.
Baby's first spell. So how does that work?
As part of the action used to cast the spell, you must make a melee attack with the weapon against one creature within the spell's range, which is 5 feet, otherwise the spell fails. On a hit, the target suffers from the attack's normal effects and becomes sheathed in booming thunder energy until the start of your next turn. If the target willingly moves before then, it immediately takes 1d8 thunder damage and the spell ends.
So it is definitely willingly moving, so it will be taking that thunder damage, eh? Okay.
Mhm.
So describe to me what it looks like as you plunge this knife into the necks that are breaking free of you.
So Manaya, glowing, plunges this knife basically into its torso.
Not the neck, the torso, by where Oka is?
Well, Oka's like on the top. This
Yes.
is going into like the side.
Cool,
Yeah.
sounds good.
And as this happens, you know, like when you look right above a flame and the air is sort of wiggling and flickering a little bit? That happens all across this creature, outlining the whole thing. And it shimmers just a little bit. I do need to roll damage, which I guess is double damage. But because it's just a little knife, just a whittle bitty knife, I have to use d4s.
Aw,
But-
little baby damage.
But it is double damage, and it is increased by brute. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus 21 damage
From the knife?
from the knife. Because I add
Okay.
my strength modifiers and everything.
Okay.
Plus 1d8 damage from the... assuming it's moving. Well, no, we'll resolve that later. As this knife plunges into the creature.
Okay, so you're just going to be stabbing its torso?
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to try to take off a neck?
And just yelling stop, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, you plunge this, it goes all the way in hilt and everything. Not hilt and everything, but it goes all the way down to the hilt. And it's a deep stab, right? And I think, because it deals so much damage from this one stab, if you want to, you can like punch your entire arm into this thing.
I think instead of going deeper in, Manaya's gonna like rake it across.
Oh yeah, sounds good. You rake it across, and I think by doing so, you snap off a neck at the base, right? With a 21, you like manage to you literally like with brute force tear off one of its heads, like connected to the neck at the base of its its throat, and it flies through the air like a fucking limp noodle, and it like slams onto the ground, and it stops moving. And its entire body, just like you described, is encased in this glowing light. But even though you say stop, right, and all of you hear Manaya's voice, but it's like a double voice. There's like another voice underneath it that sounds exactly like the Princess of Leaves as you speak. And this thing seems to like be frozen in its place for like a second, and then the light shatters off of it as it moves, right? So why don't you roll damage for the thunder damage?
Takes 6 thunder damage.
Cool, sounds good. So that is another head removed as like this like thunder damage ricochets off of it. Oka, you're also like blasted a little, but I'm not gonna have you take damage because it was a crit from Manaya. But it's like a huge noise, like the light around it like shatters like lightning, right? And you're like blown.
It's thunder damage, so it's like sound.
Yeah, like it's like a sonic wave coming off of its body. So Oka, like it's really loud where you are, but you're able to hold on, and maybe like you clap a hand over an ear. And this thing, is it still shrouded in this light, or does it stop once it takes the damage?
Once it takes the damage, the spell ends.
Okay, sounds good. So the spell ends. Does that mean like? What does it look like as a spell ends? Do you still like keep those veins of gold on your body, or do they like recede?
I think they recede for now.
Sounds good. And all of like our eyes
they start to fade.
Sure, they begin to fade, but they haven't completely, as all of our eyes, like all eyes are turned to Manaya. As like your hair, I think there's like a wind like gusting around you. I don't even know if you're aware of it. And like with like the spare, like random like dead leaves are like circling around you, right? Like from the forest in the back, and they begin to like settle down. And all of you see like Manaya's like glowing, like gold and green. And there seems to be like a second like shadow form like coming off of her body that looks like almost like a young girl's like riding on her shoulders, and then the form like disappears in like a smell of like springtime and forest, and like Manaya's like hair begins to settle down in this very badass moment. And what is the line you say before we go to break?
The line I say, I think, I don't have a badass line.
You don't? Okay, so do you just like strike a pose?
Manaya takes the knife out of it, maybe spurting a little black blood, and readies herself to go in for another once her turn comes around.
Sounds good. And Manaya readies herself. And with that, we are going to go to break. We will be back in 10 minutes. See you. It's 4:09 where I am. We will see you around 4:20 or so. Enjoy our fan art reel in 4:20. Enjoy the lovely music in our waiting room. Kroon, just bump those tunes as you take a bio break and a tech break along with the rest of the cast. So thank you all for the anonymous sub, for the raid. We really appreciate it. We will be back in 10. See you all soon.
I learned this from a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dancing. I learned to swallow light, to illuminate my darkness. I learned to feel love when I look upon my dark things. I learned who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dancing. I learned to swallow to illuminate my darkness. I learned to feel love when I look on my dark things. I learned this from a witch who was born of many gender. I learned to see a light. I learned to watch it glitter. I learned a secret from the light. I learned to watch it dance. I
Hello, 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 everybody. It is so great to see all of your non-existent digital faces in chat. Welcome back to part 2 of Arc 2, episode 8 of our all-transgender person of color-led D&D campaign. So as a reminder about some content warnings before we hop right back into it, they include addiction, memory loss, fantasy violence, death of loved ones, emotional trauma and baggage, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cult and cult-like behavior, anxiety and panic attacks described in detail, poverty and classism, a refugee crisis, natural disasters, and economic injustice. As a reminder, you can access these content warnings at any time using !CW in chat. So is there anything else I'm missing, my beautiful cast? Okay, so without further ado, let's hop right back into our intense battle against this so-called hydra flayer. So, Manaya, you're standing there posed, getting ready for a second, thrust against this creature, and now the camera pans over through the hole, right past Dr. Pelpone prone on the ground, past that like severed head that Oka just sort of used their blood magic against, and now framed against the open door of this cabin, Dewey, You stand there. You see all this shit happen. What do you do?
There's just like a look of absolute horror on his face.
Yeah, we like zoom in like a quick like whoop.
This whole time he's just been he like reaches for a sword and then thinks better of it, and then he reaches for his wrench, the big giant wrench that he has, and then thinks better of it.
Is there like a montage where you just like dig through your things
He's
and
just
bring out sword, wrench, apple, you know, like
Yeah, so then he goes into I don't know if he goes into his bag, and he's just got his bag open on the ground, digging through it as they like have this fight, I guess. And he pulls out his water skin and his bottle of ink from his quill.
Okay.
And he dumps the ink into his water skin, and then he goes flying above the hydra flare overhead. And as he's overhead and can see like Minaya and Oka, like their arms around it, so you can kind of see where it is, he dumps the bottle of ink over top of this thing, hoping to use like service like a non-magical way for other people to see this thing.
Oh, that is really smart. Very inventive. Dewey, why don't you take a point of personal inspiration for that?
I've had 30 minutes to think about this.
I know, right? So this is your grand plan. Okay, to see how successful it is, why don't you roll a sleight of hand dexterity check for me? Because it's like how well you can manipulate this. Because I mean, you're an Aarakocra where your hands are your wings, right? So you don't have wings and then arms. So you're like flying with one wing as you're dumping, right? Like
using my feet or something. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, sure. Dewey feet picks one. Okay, Dewey, your talons are holding on to this ink pot, and you dump it as you're like flying overhead. So tell me what you get on that ability check.
I got an 18.
An 18. That you do what you set out to do. So describe to me what it looks like as you're, I mean, how much ink? I don't think the ink can cover all of it because it's a pretty big creature.
Right.
So what in particular are you targeting? Are the torso with Toka on it? The torso with Oka on it? Or like one of like the necks? What's going on?
I think he is trying to, because he's doing it from pretty high up. He's trying to catch like a head or a neck in the process, but it's probably just going to splash down mostly on the torso, because that's what you can see Oka and Minaya holding
Well,
onto.
you got an 18, so you will accomplish what you set out to do pretty soundly here. So let's say with an 18, you're able to get splash it on like two heads that haven't been taken yet. Okay, so like two heads, like, and a little bit of their necks are now visible to you and the rest of your team. That's like thrashing around, like splatter. You can't tell what's like it's black blood, like splashing onto the ground, and what's the ink, right? It's like there's this very cinematic moment as this thing's thrashing in your above head. Okay, so is there anything else you do? Let's say that consumed an action.
Yeah. It's trying to go towards the bait house.
It appears to originally be setting out for the bait house, but after Minaya like ripped like a fourth like neck from its body, it just seems to be like pissed off. You know, you take one look at this thing and it's about to go berserk is what's about to happen. So, and it's about to be its turn too. So what do you do, Dewey? You use one action. What's next?
Help!
How far away is the bait house?
I described earlier about 40-ish feet away, so this thing is pretty big. It could probably make it there. You know,
I could also make it there.
You could, yeah,
okay.
with your flying speed.
I'm hoping that there's a window or something open on the bait house, and Dewey's going to keep flying overhead of over the hydra flare, and then go straight for that window. Try and like go in through the window, and then he's gonna like poke his head out with like a crossbow, trying to keep his eyes on it. But he's also ready to like slam the window shut. Not that, I mean, it just burst through a wall, but he's trying to keep the people inside the bait house.
With a crossbow, you said?
Yep.
Do you have like an action surge or like an extra attack action or something that you can do as an
No.
artificer? Okay, cool.
I don't think so.
I think you could as a ranger, but you're no longer a ranger. Okay, so Dewey, you fly above head this thing, and is that going to be the end of your turn?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna weave a word picture. Dewey, after you dump this ink over this thing, you begin to fly off toward the bait house. Are you like calling out warning or anything like that, or are you just gonna go in like focused?
Focused. He's not used to having to alert other people.
Sounds good. Is the ink pot still in your talent, or are you like trying to put it in your bag as you're flying?
I don't know. It probably drops to the ground.
Sounds good. Okay, all of you sort of see the ink pot like soar down through the air and smash like against the ground and like clay, and like Oka, you're like covering your head. But one
It was
of your
my
hands
water
is-
skin.
Yeah. Your water skin. Okay, it like bounces onto the ground and it rolls off to the side. And Dewey, as you fly toward the bait house, you hear like you could feel like the earth tremble a little underneath you, even though you're in the air. As Oka, Manaya, and V, the three of you see this thing like like. It's invisible, right? It can't be perceived aside from like what's covered in ink and the seal, still branded inside one of its cheeks. And like there's huge claw gouge marks just like across like the muddied ground, and it seems to be making a beeline straight for the bait house, right? And it seems to be going like faster and faster. And Dewey, you're flying, right? You're a couple feet in front of it, but you can see this thing like traveling on the ground underneath you. You soar through, sure enough, an open window, right? And as you go in, you see like all the sailors have set up like cards, like some of them are in the corner like playing dice. There's like laughter and like talking all around. Like they don't seem to have noticed this huge battle happening like outside. And as soon as you burst in through the window, like one of the sailors goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. As you roll and you like pull out your crossbow and you mount it like on the window frame. They go, hey, wait, what's the big deal here? And
It's out there.
You hear Trout go, what? What's out there? What's going on, Dewey? And one of the other
you stay over there.
One of the other sailors says, hey, this is just, you don't have to be so high strung, but we don't see any monster or anything. Here, have a drink.
Do you not feel it? The ground shaking?
What ground shit? And then it's like the Jurassic Park moment, right? Where like they're like holding like a mug of beer, and then you see the beer like and like Dewey, you're standing there and you see this thing like coated in ink coming at you. And while this is happening, Manaya and Oka, you're strapped to its back, so you're moving with it. Manaya and V, are you gonna like run after this thing? What's the play here? Yeah, okay. So
Yeah,
the two of you are booking. You're booking for it. Okay. Behind this thing, it's fast, but the two of you also have a speed of 30, I'm assuming. So you can catch up, like, you're just maybe like 10 feet behind, you're huffing it, you're running after this thing. And it seems to rear up. Okay, you feel yourself like going vertical, as you're like on this thing, and it's only because of your blood that you're still attached to it. And it comes down. And it's gonna wreck the bait house. Its necks. It's just like a rampaging dinosaur. It's just gonna. Poof. So I need all of you to make a dexterity, to make a dexterity acrobatics save. So if you have proficiency in acrobatics, you can add it.
It's made the save of my life. I got a 20.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I need to take the auto crit off the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
18
18
What do
from
you use? One of-
V.
18 from V. What was that, Manaya?
I'm using inspiration.
Sounds good.
8.
Okay, 8 from Manaya and Oka.
14 from Oka.
Okay, so Dewey and V, the two of you make it. On a success, you are able to dodge out of the way of this thing's like rampage, like destroying this building, right? Dewey and V. And you'll only take half damage from that. But Dewey, because you got a 20, that was really high. You get to choose a following boon. You get to either resist or avoid all the damage, so not take any damage at all, including half, or you get to somehow impress, surprise, or provoke this monster, or you get to create an opportunity for your allies as you dodge out of the way.
Are the other people in the house going to make this save? Because I would like to.
They will definitely not. So you can
Wow.
create an opportunity by like trying to keep them safe. You can like use your boon to do that.
Yeah. So Dewey's he sees it coming through the window, and
Okay.
he basically tries to get everyone to the far side of the house, because where else are we going to go in the 3 seconds it's going to take? So he's just like flapping his wings at people, like shoving these sailors.
Hey, watch
away
what
from
you're
the tables.
doing!
Yeah.
Yeah, they're shoving them, okay?
And then I assume like the monster bursts in and like crushes the table they were just sitting at.
Yep. It destroys the wall, crushes the table, but because you've been flapping like your wings like crazy, and you're all the sailors are like, "What's up with this Aarakocra?" But they're like backing away from you. You save their lives. You save them from getting crushed by like falling wood and like invisible claws and thrashing unseen necks as it destroys half of the bait house, right? Like half of it, it's like bisected down the middle. But you and all the other sailors and all the other dock hands of the court are like pushed to the remaining standing part of the building. Does that feel good? Okay, so Dewey, you're still gonna have to take half damage though, because you didn't choose to ignore the blows. So let's say like as its claws and bodies body like smashes down, like some of the debris hits you, and you as well, V. Let's see some of the debris, like let's say some of it like splashes outward and lands on you. So the total damage, which Oka and Manaya are gonna take, you're gonna take the full damage of this. I'm gonna roll for it. 6, 10, 14. 14 bludgeoning damage is the full, so 7.5.
It's also going to take 2 points of damage from harming others. The brand is going to like be seared deeper into its cheek.
Sounds good.
I also have the Sentinel feat, which says if an ally within 5 feet is attacked, I get to make an attack.
This isn't technically a direct attack. This was a save.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be a little rules lawyery there and say maybe because it wasn't like directly attacking you. It was attacking the building, let's say, instead of you. Sure. So what can Manaya and Oka, can you remind me what you got again?
14, I think.
Okay, you're fine. That's all you
Like
take.
An 8.
An 8?
Yeah.
Okay, an 8 is kind of far from the DC. So that I'm going to count it similar to Dewey's a massive success. I'm going to count that as kind of a massive failure. So Manaya, I need you to choose one of the following. A valuable weapon, item, or piece of equipment on your person is seized, lost, or destroyed. You are going to you endanger an NPC with your incompetence, or you're going to give your opponent an opportunity.
Think as Manaya was pulling back for another attack with her dagger against its tough skin, as it moved sort of jerkily and maybe a little unexpectedly, the knife, which is made for carving and cutting thread and hair, not meant for stabbing, maybe like a good 75% of it gets chopped off, gets like
it breaks.
Off.
Sounds good. Yeah, this is the knife you have an emotional attachment to, right? It was, what did you say it was one of your mother's?
Carved in memoriam of Nali.
Sounds good. This creature, which you're pretty sure is responsible for your parents' demise or missing nature, its body breaks the knife that reminds you of your mother that you had carved in memory of them. And as this happens, like, how do you feel, Manaya, as this knife like breaks under your hand?
Manaya was angry before, but more than angry, she was determined to get information, to know where her parents are, right? All of that determination of subdue the monster, get the information, is just gone. And she is the closest you'll get to one of those like optimal cishet white men D&D murder hobo D&D characters that you'll ever see her. She's not holding back anymore.
Sounds good. As soon as the knife like breaks, you're just like, that's it. This thing is going down. Okay. So after this building is torn in half, I think all of you just sort of like hear from around the front, or actually from the roof, all of you hear a, need some help? Sort of like silhouetted like against the darkness, you see Mr. Kim, like he's sort of like perched there, almost like Batman, or like he had gotten up onto the roof somehow. And he's looking down, he sees this huge caved in part of the roof, like the invisible monster thrashing, the sailors and the dock hands screaming. And he draws, yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry. At the end of the monster's turn, it needs to make another strength saving throw against a 13 for the blood curse of binding.
Sounds good. Okay. Let's see. It makes it. What does that mean?
Okay, then I think the same thing. Oka is still kind of stuck to it, but it doesn't. It can move and it can use reactions.
Sounds good. Yeah. So Oka, you're this entire time you're like riding it, and you're like trying to like pull it back, right? But you can't. It's just too strong, and your arms are maybe like flaring a little as you pull onto it from like the blood rains, let's say. And Mr. Kim up on the roof, he just sort of he says his line, and then he draws the longsword that is like strapped to his back, like in one fluid motion, and he jumps off, and he's gonna like sort of spin through the air and cut at one of the ink-soaked necks, and he's gonna land next to you, Dewey. And then like there's like a moment where like nothing happens, and then it's sort of like like a samurai movie, and then it's like and like the neck like comes off and like falls onto the ground and rolls off. So now this thing, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of its heads have been taken. There are 3 left. One has a seal in it, one is drenched in ink, and one is still invisible. So next is actually Rev. All of you sort of hear her go, hey, what? And she comes out from around the other side, and she's sort of like approaching. She's close to where you are, V, and she's got her whip drawn, like it's like like it's unfurled in like one hand, and she's like grabbing onto it. She goes, is that the thing?
What the fuck do you think?
And without anything else, she's going to like unfurl her whip and lash at the other the one, let's say that is invisible. She's going to do her best, so it's at disadvantage. So she like narrows her eyes and she lashes this whip forward, and her aim is true. Like the whip like curls around that invisible neck, and she pulls on it hard, and the neck pops off. Like the whip, like it has like serrated edges, right? So she rips it off, and like the neck flies over your head, V, and lands behind you with a heavy thud, and it sort of like rolls off to the side.
V bites her lip a little bit and blushes, and that's yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to say to that, V, or are you just gonna blush a little?
No, I think there's gonna be just. Sound.
Oh my God.
That's it.
You know what? I'll give you inspiration for that. So there are 2 heads left, one with the seal and one that's still drenched in ink, I believe. So next is going to be all of you here from like sort of like outside, like behind you, the familiar kind of hollow, tired voice of Dr. Ting. Sort of go, Stop, it's subdued enough. Let us capture it. And you see that Dr. Ting is next to Dr. Sato and another doctor who hadn't introduced himself yet, as well as Sato sort of like supporting Dr. Pelpone, who seems like maybe she was like minorly injured by the attack, but she's mostly okay. Dr. Ting is standing in front and is holding some sort of device in his hands that you don't really recognize. And all 4 of them are standing in front of like a larger device that none of you recognize. But Dewey, because of your training with the URL, it sort of looks like it's got like a wide flared base, and it looks technological, and then it's sort of like like the top opens up almost like a flower, and there's like sort of like a glowing thing inside. And Dewey, you recognize this as like a multi-purpose tool that is sort of has been developed by the URL to subdue like creatures and like entities is what they call them, that they're interested in studying. So like this thing has like some sort of function that it can do to like use to like capture this monster somehow, but you're not quite sure how it works because I don't know if that was your specialty. So Dr. Ching's standing there being like, stop, let us take over. What do the 4 of you say to that as this creature is still sort of like shaking and raging?
Does that look subdued to you?
The 4 of you have done a fine job. We'll take care of the rest, okay? Let us take this thing back to the URL, all right? And everyone here will be saved.
Who is this talking again?
Dr. Ting, the kind of like hollow, tired-looking lead researcher.
Let me know when I can attack again. Manai's going in for a full axe.
So you're not going to say anything to this person?
She'll glance over with.
So remember, so I'm taking a couple of creative liberties with combat. So this is sort of like a choice juncture. Like if we wanted to, like we could stop and like see, you know, like if you wanted to cooperate with them, or you could be like, nah, I want to take care of this on my own, or like something else. But you don't feel like, oh, I can only have a free action to talk. Like this can like impact combat.
Yeah, Manaya glances over with like death in her eyes, sneers, draws her axe, and goes in for an attack.
Okay, you're just gonna ignore him.
Yeah.
Okay, so Oka.
Oka is literally on it. So whatever they would do to it, they would do to them. And I think that there is like something in their face that makes that clear. You know, they like turn to face, almost like instead of they're riding it, they are like, they turn and shield it. And I don't know if the next thing that they would do is let their wings out. But I think for now, they're like, you can have it when we're done with it.
Okay. V, Dewey, do the two of you say anything else?
I think V's gonna turn to Manaya and be like, Manaya, you know what to do.
You get no response from her.
Okay, sounds good. Dr. Ting can see that the four of you are not ready to let your prey go quite yet. Dr. Ting sort of goes, oh, that's too bad. Dr. Sato, is the entity subdued enough for us to use the device? Dr. Sato goes, I don't know. It's 50-50 at this point. We probably have to winnow it down a little bit more. Dr. Ting just goes, fine. And at that point, all of the sailors and the people who are like in the building, the dockhands are like, they're like, we're getting out of here. So all of them sort of turn and they begin to flee as this is happening. They like go out like the front door. Like Trout is like, I'm sorry, Dewey, but I'm not staying for this. Turns and runs, you know, and like you see like Tiger like grab a couple of beers and like in like her hands and she's like running off. And the other sailors are they're jetting out of there. They're fleeing. They're absolutely, their courage is breaking. They're getting out of there. They're moving out of danger. So as that's happening, you decide to turn down the URLs offered to attempt to do this thing, and we go back to the top of the order. We are going to go to Manaya with V, and then Oka, then Dewey. So Manaya, what do you do?
Manaya's going to aim for the base of like where these heads sort of converge, and just go for it.
Okay, it appears to have two heads left. One that is still like sort of drenched in ink, and one that has like a glowing seal on the inside of its invisible cheek.
Question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
So, out of the spells that I chose, because I'm a warlock, I also chose Green Flame Blade, which is the same thing as Booming Blade, except that instead of locking it in as like casting as part of an attack action, but instead of locking it in place, I can deal 1d8 damage to a different target. Could I count its heads as different targets and I'd be able to attack it and then have the green flame attack the head?
Sure. Yeah, let's say I'll allow that.
Okay. Manaya, the glowing hasn't subsided all that much, but it comes back with a renewed vigor as her eyes glow green this time. And she pulls her axe back and goes for like a strike, just like at the base of the necks.
Go for it. Roll to attack.
That is an 18 to hit.
Okay, that is a full success. So what's
Cool.
the damage on that?
Yeah. Reroll that one because I have great weapon fighting.
You're using your axe, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh, 14 damage.
Okay, 14 damage. Which head in particular were you trying to target? The one with the seal or the ink one?
The one with the ink.
Yeah, as you sever it clean off. And because you rolled so well, the green flame does work. So describe to me how that works.
So as Manaya's axe is soaring through the air, the golden energy sort of goes down her arms and into her axe and sort of coats the sharp end of her axe in this sort of like green. It's not flame. I'm gonna flavor it as almost like there's a larger blade right next to it that you can only see because as it flies through the air, there are leaves that are materializing and being pushed out of the way. As the axe cleaves this head off, and the leaves sort of swirl together and fly almost like knives at the second head, right where the seal is.
How much damage does that deal?
That is another 1d8. There's my d8. It's going to deal 7.
Piercing,
I guess
or
slashing or piercing damage.
Okay, yeah. They go. They like lodge themselves up like the length of the neck. They don't like take it off. I don't think that damage was quite enough. But they do like lodge themselves, and all of you sort of like, as the second to last head comes off, the entire creature flickers into being. Like it can no longer sustain whatever like displacement or like or whatever kind of fucked up void magic it was using to make it like eclipse, like form an eclipse in your perception. The whole thing, and all of you see like 7 stumps of like various lengths that are just sort of like splurting inky black blood. You see like its entire body is like pallid, pale, kind of like clammy flesh, and its remaining head has like those leaves stuck into it. You can see like the glowing seal on the inside of its cheek, and all of you see something else. Dewey, you recognize it first. That's like almost like it has an ear, right? It has like ears that almost look like freakishly human, right? But it has like a tag. Almost, you're like, is that an earring? Like on one of its ears for a moment, and then you realize that the tag has a logo on it. And Dewey, you recognize the logo as the URL's logo. And you know what the URL does with entities that it's interested in researching. They sometimes tag them and like send them out into the wild. Sort of like how scientists like tag penguins and whatnot.
An
yes.
extra attack.
Okay, are you going to declare this non-lethal, or are you going to try to kill this thing?
No, I'm killing this thing. Manaya's killing this thing.
Okay, just so you are aware of the consequences, you will not be able to interrogate it for answers about where your parents might be.
This is a character choice.
Okay. So you're going to try to kill this thing. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to try to, because it has like 4 legs, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to chop off a leg.
Okay, so the freaky thing about its legs as you look down, as they flutter into existence, is that they look like human hands. Like all 4 of them with like really long, like jagged nails that were what was like gouging like into the earth. So you're chopping off one of the legs?
Yeah.
Okay, which one?
Wait, how many legs did you say it has?
4. It's like an animal. It's got 2 front legs and 2 back legs, but they end in hands instead of like hooves or claws.
Manaya's on its right side. She's going to go for the front right one.
Front right hand. Okay, sounds good. So make that attack roll.
I'm going to roll my attack and damage at the same time, be more efficient with this than I was before. I'm going to use an inspiration.
Sounds good.
That's going to be a 12 to hit.
Okay, that does not quite do it. So
Okay.
it will get an opportunity. So roll damage as usual.
7. So what, 13? 13.
13. Okay, 13 points of damage. You sever its hand, right? Like clean off. Whoosh. The hand sort of like flat, and it sort of like goes down, you know, and Oka, you're like on its back, like you also like shift downward. And then in response, because it can sort of, you know, it's stopped thrashing and it's just sort of like breathing, like and like blood is like coming, like black blood is its pale flesh is almost completely covered now in its own obsidian blood, void ichor. And then all of you just sort of like see this thing shiver, and Oka, you're on top of it. It's like an earthquake. It's like shuddering. And Dr. Ching goes, wait, no! And then I need all of you to make a wisdom insight save.
10 for V.
Okay, 10 for V.
21 for Oka.
Wonderful, 21 for Oka.
Oh, Dewey, why do you look like you're crying?
Roll a fucking natural one.
Nat 1! You do have an inspiration. You can re-roll it if you want. Or you
Would
can-
this
you
be
can take
interesting if I failed it?
Oh, it'd be so interesting, Dewey, I promise. I promise. But interesting for me as a GM. and narratively, I think, in the fiction. Would it be good for you? Like, as a character? Probably
Obviously not.
not. Yeah. Manaya, what did you get?
8.
8, okay. Dewey, are you going to take that nat 1 or are you going to re-roll it with an
I'm
inspiration?
gonna take the nat 1.
Hell yeah. Okay, so all of you except Oka failed. So Oka, you succeed. I'll describe it from your perspective first. Okay, you're on top of this thing, arm deep, feeling the squirming souls inside of it, right? And then it's odd. It's like your vision goes like black for a moment, right? And then it's like you can't see anything for like half a second. And then it's the oddest sensation ever, Oka. It's like someone's opened up your brain painlessly, right? And now their like fingers are like massaging onto your brain and they're trying to probe deeper and deeper. Like you could feel these fingers begin to grow like fingernails and they're trying to gouge deeper into your consciousness, but you're able to fight off this psychic probing. How?
It's the repression, babes. No, not really. I think it's probably Vanash, actually. I think it's the fact that Vanash is lingering in their mind. That is like a wall of lightning and fire.
I like that. This psychic wall of lightning and fire repels the probing, right? You could feel Vanash in your body like flare up in rage and protect you from whatever this thing is. But the rest of you are not so lucky. So what we have here is, let's do V and Manaya first before we do Dewey. Dewey got a nat 1, so I'm not going to give you a choice. But V and Manaya, you failed, but I'll give you a choice. You can either refuse to give ground to this probe, but take a massive amount of damage. Or you can succumb and see what happens. And when I say massive, it's got to be pretty big.
Manaya's taking the damage, no
Okay.
question.
Great.
V, let's go the opposite way for V. Let's
Succumb to the probe.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. The psychic probing. Okay, so let's do you first, Manaya. What are you at?
45.
Okay.
Just over half.
I need to do a quick bit of math because I can't roll all these.
You better not die
Okay.
again.
You can either use a dice roller, Manaya, or you can
Oh,
roll.
I have to roll these?
Yeah, I'll make you roll it because I want
Fuck.
you to feel a bit more. Do you have a dice roller like an online? You could use Google.
Yeah, I've got it.
So roll 10d6 for me.
7, 8, 9, 10. The total is 24.
Cool. Great. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. You got this. Walk this off, champ. Okay, so as these probes try to like dig into you, describe like it's really painful, Manaya, and you can feel it searching in your consciousness. And as you feel it searching, the blackness flitters as you see memories. Like memories from, just a few weeks ago of you traveling with your companions, and then of you at like Dr. Aluso's house. You're in Dapathati. You're like facing off against Vinash inside of Ravi. Like now you are in the monster fighting pits next to Rev. And then now you're like, in the Badlands, traveling. And then you're inside a butte. You see, fucking Dalapathy Saeed, and his husband. You go back all the way back to before the cataclysm. You're in Solmanad with your crew where you've docked, and then before that you're on the Ruffled Turn, and then before that you're a child, on a dock, and then before that you see your mothers and your father standing. It's so fuzzy, like in a cabin. One of your moms is saying something to you, like a lullaby, a song, and then how do you push the probe out?
As these visions are flickering, Manaya notices that she's getting distracted. And yeah, she notices she's getting distracted, and so she takes she sort of wills this like ball of energy basically to repel out of her.
Is the Princess of
But
Leaves helping you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But every inch that this like ball pushes back against the psychic force, I mean, it's like a metaphorical ball, right? It's not like a physical thing. But every inch that it takes, it hurts.
It's really painful. That's where the 20-something psychic damage comes from. So you are like physically like your brain, it's like the worst fucking headache you've ever experienced, like splitting as you're like forcing these psychic daggers out of your skull with this fear of internal force, willpower. And as that happens, I have a quick question about Lines and Veils before we go forward. I know that memory loss for PCs has been established as a line here. I know that's specifically for Manaya / Devin / Manaya. Would it? This is also a question for Max and Erica as Dewey and V. Would it? How does like selective memory loss here feel if I like asked you like what memory do you give up to this creature? Like, does that feel like it's crossing that line? Because I have a different prompt if so.
Let's not, for me at least.
Okay. Does that affect like for other people? For you, Devin?
Other people, y'all are fine.
Cool. So Erica, Max, how are we feeling about that? Like for your characters?
Yeah,
Cool
I'm
with it.
good with it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Let's go back into the fiction then. Thank you for clarifying your boundaries. Then in that case, let's go to Dewey last because you got a nat 1. V. You're like, this hurts so much, just get it over with, right? Like as this thing's plunging into you. And you can feel it, just like Manaya, you feel your memories like fluttering past you. You can see it like through your eyes, like there's like shuddering past you like a camera, like going through like a camera very, very rapidly. And the probes land on one memory in particular. What is it? It is one that is important to you.
Right. I had one idea, but no. Let's go actually to the memory of Rev kissing V.
Yo, okay, I'm gonna give you inspiration for that. Yo, okay, I did not expect that. Okay. All right, we land on that memory, and it's like the claws grab it and they yank it out of you. And as soon as that happens, you're like, whoa, it's super disorienting. It's like there's like literally like a gap in your memory, but then like your brain can't fathom what's happened, so it stitches like what happened before to what happens after. So you remember going into Rev's room, talking to her, and then you remember leaving. You don't remember anything else, and then your brain stitches that together, and the pain is gone as it recedes from you. You reel backward.
Mm.
Dewey, what? Okay, so what is the memory? What is the memory that the hydra flayer takes from you? An important one.
There's a memory of Dewey leaving the URL. He's just finished a months-long project, one that has taken him away from his family. He hasn't seen them the whole time. And he's excited. He's happy to finally have taken some time off. During this time, he's written like a letter to his wife, kind of like apologizing for not being there and promising to make it up to her. And for the first time in his life, for the first time in a long time, he feels excited, happy. And that trip home, I think he forgets the whole trip home. And all he remembers after this is opening the door to an empty house.
Okay. So just to clarify, you're forgetting the break you took from the URL to go home, right? To like visit your family?
Yeah.
Okay. So all you remember is opening the door to an empty house, assuming that your wife had left with your child, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, that's painful. Let's go with that. So yeah, that is the memory that's snatched by this creature, and then just like that, like your brain can't comprehend, so it stitches past and future together, and then as the claws recede, because you got a nat 1, you're also going to be taking that damage. So I need you to roll 10d6 for me.
Okay.
Maybe not like physically, because that'll take like forever.
Okay. 42. 42.
Okay, does that bring you down to 0? How are you doing?
I had 43 hit points. Now 1, baby. Worked out for me.
Oh my god, you have 1 hit point
once.
left? Okay, I love that. So Dewey, what do you look like as this psychic probe leaves your brain?
I think Dewey just collapses to the floor. He looks like he's basically dead. He looks like he's not even like trying to hold on to. He's not struggling. He just falls to the floor like a sack of bricks.
Yep, but you're still alive, thank God. But you do fall prone. I like that. Okay, and now we go back to Manaya. This happened in a split second after you chopped off its like front right hand, right? And then now your head is splitting. Do you have any actions left?
No, I do not.
Okay, cool. So do you end your turn?
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. So you're standing there, your head is just like, like it hurts so much, right? But you're still standing, bitch. And now we go to V. V, what do you look like now after the probes left you?
Yeah, it's been taking me a moment to like feel like I'm clearing my head and I see Rev in the corner of my eyes.
I actually think what happens is as you're like reeling backward from this explosion, of psychic power, like Rev runs over to you, with like a whip out. She like goes over to you. She's like holds your arm. Maybe that she touches your shoulder. Maybe that's what like jolts you out of it. She goes, V, are you okay?
And I look at Rev and like I obviously still know who Rev is.
Right? Yeah.
There's this like
you're aware
strange
of who she is.
sensation of like I have this feeling of affection, but I can't quite place, but also like I don't because I don't know, like I just don't know why. Like I'm just feeling some feelings when I look at Rev, and but I can't quite place what it is or what's going on.
So how does that make you react when she is clearly being like compassionate toward you?
V is stumbling in words. Just I think I'm all right. Thank you for helping me, Rev. And just like V is struggling to like, why is Rev like suddenly running to V? Like it just doesn't, there's just nothing is adding up right now.
Sure. Sounds good. So what do you do on your turn?
I think I'm going to continue like get off the fog, see what's happening over with the creature, and be like, all right, we need to take care of this thing once and for all. We need to put this thing out of its misery. Gonna pull up 2 meteors and also at the same time call another chromatic orb level 1 out of her glove and start juggling them. And
it's the clown coming out.
Right. But it's like her hands are never actually touching either the meteorites or the orb, but definitely doing the juggling motion. And gonna flick the chromatic orb out, and for the sake of clarity I would like to just do that attack and possible damage before, because I would also like the meteors to then at the same time, like as that's hurtling at a medium pace, that'll give me enough time to take the meteors and as a bonus action fling them around till they hopefully like all 3 kind of meet the monster's
neck
time.
like sort of in the middle. Okay,
Yeah.
Are you trying to kill this thing or are you trying to declare it non-lethal?
No, I'm gonna take this mother out.
Okay, sounds good. So roll for attack, right?
Yep. So this is for the chromatic orb. 22 is the attack.
Yeah, that hits. So with a 22, because it hits that AC, I'll let you do what you set out to do, which is to have them all meet at the same time. So why don't you roll? Is it also to roll to attack for the meteors?
No, that is a
Save?
dex save against 14.
Okay, sounds good. So before you do damage, let me do that save because it's simultaneous. Okay, it fails. So why don't you roll damage simultaneously for all 3?
All right. So, and this is all fire damage. So that's 9, 10, 12, 16, 21, 28 points of total fire damage.
Okay, that's enough to kill it. So describe to me what it looks like.
So yeah, the chromatic orb is gonna come at it, and then At the same time, V's gonna throw the 2 meteors around curveballs, and it's gonna meet right in the middle and just make a giant. It's not as big as the normal fireball, obviously. It's much smaller than that, but it still makes a pretty nice fireball. You can hear the creature rolling around in fire, screaming. I'm trying to get just like half the body. I know Oka's still around that thing, and I am leaving not all of it to be charred, but it's burning to a crisp.
I'm just gonna clarify. Are you trying to take the head off? Are you trying to sever the neck or just burn it?
I guess I will, go for that final neck and just like, I guess if that like burns and chars off and like, I'm going specifically like just for the neck, and like if that can just like, and the head just like falls off.
Okay, yeah, cool. Sounds good. I think that's what happens. It's charred, and okay, you're like underneath this as like bits of like flaming flesh come raining down on you, and like bits of charred mortar. And then the head just crumbles, and it lets out just a inhuman, horrifying screech. And then the head falls off from the neck, and it smashes into ash against the ground, leaving nothing but that tag behind in the ground against it in the ground. And as it's like wavering on its like unsteady legs, right? V, do you do anything else?
Well, I've got two meteors left. I'm just gonna throw them up like really high in the air, and even though this is like magic and they aren't actually affected by gravity, it's like they go up, they slow, they go back down, and then one goes back in my palm, the other one goes back in my palm. I'm just like,
okay. Oddly enough, this thing is like it's still moving. Sort of like a chicken with its head's cut off, right? So now I think it's Oka's turn. Yes, Oka.
Okay, good. There's one little, Oka's like, why are we killing it? Why are we killing it? They are going to reach inside, like deeper, and they're gonna try to grab the bag. And I'm going to use my action to release my radiant soul. I'm going to use almost trying to to shield it, like mostly from the URL, but a little bit from not from my fellow party members, but like shielding it from the URL with their wingspan, and then using the force of them trying to take off. Like they're still tied to it. They're trying to hold on to the bag and fly up into the air, away as much as they can. And if that means that the body kind of slops off and they keep the bag, that is fine. Because I figure it's
so gross.
Pretty heavy.
It's like you're peeling a kiwi. Okay, yeah. So, Radiant Soul, what? Because of that devil's bargain.
That was so long ago, Connie. That was so long ago. I have paid for that devil's bargain in blood for 7 sessions now. That was the end of Arc 1, Connie Chong.
Okay, pay for it one more time. So just roll your Crimson Right die one more time as the wings spring out of your back. What was that?
I said fucking fuck, it was a 6.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, what does it look like as this happens?
Yeah, it's their wings are less less immaterial than they were before. Like before they were a little bit see-through at the ends, but now it's just Oka has cut holes in the back of their shirt to allow the wings to spurt out, and wings that can carry a human being are huge, so they come out, now that it is in existence again, just kind of shielding, and then they go 1, 2, and pull up as hard as they can.
Yeah, I think it just works because you have a special feature, Radiant Soul. So you grab onto like the top of what you can ascertain is the soul bag, and it's disgusting. It's like you peel a kiwi and you just take the fruit out, right? So the rest of its body sort of sloughs off the sides as you just squick this flesh bag out from inside its like torso, and the rest of the torso like sort of like falls to the ground like a pair of worn jeans, you know, like jeans that are too big for you, just sort of falls down in like a pile of skin and flesh. Yep, and just there's a ton of black blood just everywhere, just spurting, just squicking, just coming down in a torrent of chunks and flesh, and you fly up into the air, and this bag is like, it's the biggest one so far. It's like half your size, Oka. It's also heavy. Like souls are dense, is what you're realizing, and it's sort of like it doesn't really have a solid form. Like it's not like it's filled with water or like a bunch of plastic balls or anything. It keeps changing form, this bag. Like there's like something amorphous inside of it trying to get out. So what do you do?
I am getting the fuck out of there. Like using, I think, like the rope, like as its body sloshes off. By the way, disgusting, Connie. As its body sloshes off, like those like rope and like the blood rope goes to the bag, like again, like kind of like pinning it, like almost like making it a backpack against their torso, even though like it's squirming around. And they are taking it and they are flying up, and away, like from the URL specifically.
Okay.
And they are like, you know, like they whistle kind of down at the party and like they're getting away so that hopefully we can do something with this without the fucking URL bothering us.
Okay, as you take to the sky, sure enough, you hear the URL folks like behind you. They're picking themselves off the ground. It seems like they have also been like attacked by that psychic blast. And you see one of them, let's say Dr. Sato, is sort of crouched over Dr. Pelpone, who's on the ground like prone, like not moving. And Dr. Sato is like shaking Dr. Pelpone. And the fourth researcher, who you haven't been introduced to yet, is sort of like rubbing the back of her head. And Dr. Ting seems to have also survived the blast, but he's bleeding heavily from like a nose and like from his ears. And he just goes, "No, stop, come back. Damn it, you killed it!" Are you just flying off, not saying anything?
Yep. This is ours now. I feel like this is what talks, not the monster. If there was a head left, maybe the last head that had Oka's incision in it, could they have picked that up too?
No, it was charred to bits by V, remember? It was
Yes.
like turned to soot.
That is fair. How about a head that was close to them? Could they have picked that up, perhaps?
Sure, let's say there was like the invisible head that Rev squicked off, which is now obviously visible. So yeah, okay, let's say you also have scooped up that particular head that's just sort of limp and cold in your hand. And at that point, like Dr. Ting turns to Dr. Tiktabad, which is the fourth one who hasn't been introduced yet, says, "Dr. Tiktabad, is this thing fully dead? Did we fail?" And Dr. Tiktabad goes, It appears so. They're leaving with the soul sack. They're leaving with the. Please come back. You don't know what you're doing.
I flip them the bird and fly the fuck away.
Okay, as you fly away, Manaya, Dewey, and V, what do you do?
Fucking nothing. I'm at 1 hit point, and I just had all the happiness I remember taken from me. I'm just laying in the rubble.
I like that. V, go ahead.
V's gonna look at the body of this creature, and then again, like Rev is still beside her, and she's like, "Thank you for coming to help me." And she's still figuring this out.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we have a pact, remember?
A pact.
And at that point, Dr. Ting strides is like on the warpath. Like he marches, stomps up to where you, Manaya, you, V, and you, Dewey are. Yes, Manaya.
While this is all going down, as soon as Oka is like, boop, and like pulls the thing out, Manaya is standing there, probably heaving, covered in this black blood. And as this thing, I guess, deflates from having the soul sack took out of it, and the magic is receding back down. She's just starts wailing on it with her axe, just like
The corpse.
chopping it into bits. Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Ching strides up to you, and you can hear him go, "Stop! Stop! Stop it, damn it! Please, please, stop! This thing, it can give us so many answers about what's happening. Can't you understand?"
Manaya's ignoring.
Stop! Damn it! Mr. Kim! Mr. Kim! Solar! Stop this crazy person! And Mr. Kim, who has been on the roof this entire time, I think perched looking down with like amusement. Oka, as you're flying up, like you have to fly like past him, he just sort of like, he like looks up at you and says, "Well, I'll be damned. I guess you were competent after all."
I spit some blood down at him.
He laughs and then says, "See you later." And then he like hops down from the roof and like rolls, and then he stands up next to Dr. Ting and he says, Doctor, what's the matter?" Dr. Ting says, "Apprehend this person. They are destroying our asset." "Looks pretty destroyed to me already. I mean, I don't know what you're hoping to learn from what remains." That is an order." "Well, all right." And Mr. Kim steps forward toward you, Manaya, as you're still wailing on the remains of this thing, and just says, Hey, Manaya, right?"
Manaya whips around, her axe probably coming like just a few inches from his neck, and says, "What?"
He's got like both hands up.
And there's some tears coming down.
Sure. Like he's regarding you like someone would like a wounded animal, which maybe you kind of feel like right now. And he just goes, Hey, look, I know I said earlier I don't really care about what's going on between the two of you, and frankly, I said that not really to be an asshole, but because I figured it was your private business, right? None of my concern. But clearly this means a lot to you. But listen, these folks at the URL, sure, they might be kind of suspicious, sure, they might be kind of shady, and yeah, maybe they have questionable business practices, and their moral aptitudes are not quite there. And Dr. Ching goes, get to the point.
To the point.
Yeah, let's hear me say that at the same time. Mr. Kim says, but they do know what they're doing. If what you're trying to find is some answers from that monster, if we all work together, maybe we can walk away from this situation with a win-win. You hear me? Because you want answers, right? I'm assuming this thing did something to you or someone you cared about.
Manaya takes a few more deep breaths, pulls her axe away, and with one hand just like sticks it into the monster corpse, and stomps away, vaguely in the direction Oka's flying.
Mr. Kim turns to Dr. Ting and says, "Oh, I got her to stop." And as you're stomping away vaguely in Oka's direction, V and Dewey, do the two of you linger to say anything else to the URL people? Actually, I think Dr. Sato calls up and says, "Dr. Ting, Dr. Palpone, she's stabilized, but she's in critical condition. We're gonna have to take her back to the ship or look for some medical supplies." And Dr. Ting goes, "Fine, damn it." And he turns around and his eyes land on you, Dewey. There's a pause. And Dr. Tiktabad is nearby and also follows Dr. Ting's gaze to you. And Dr. Tiktabad goes, "Hold on." And she like steps forward a little bit. I'm sorry.
He's lying on the ground.
Yeah, you're lying on the ground, totally. Are you okay? Hey.
I ignore.
Okay, yeah, you're so fucked up. Hey, you're gonna be alright. You play dead? Okay, roll performance. If you're actually trying to play dead.
It's a 5. I cough.
Okay. Okay, yeah, you cough. Dr. Tiktabad sort of like crouches down and like holds out a tentative hand like, "Hey, you tried to save all the sailors, right? You flew in there. I saw you. That was really brave. I'm sorry, I didn't notice you with the others."
Dewey.
Oh, you've got some
Musters up-
static crackling going on
Oh.
there, Max.
Dewey.
good now.
Yeah, Dewey musters up all the strength that is left, which is not a lot. Pulls himself to his feet and limps off past this person.
Okay. Are you limping off in Oka's direction?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You limp off Dr. Teak, the body goes, whoa. Like a phoenix from the ashes, I guess. And at that point, Rev sort of turns to you, V, and says, oh, we should get going.
Yes, let's get going. And I'll sort of like follow.
Dr. Singh just goes, wait. Can we have that sack back? And he ineptly like kicks the ground, you know. And Solar Kim, you know, Mr. Kim, he leans against like a charred pole of like the bait house and rolls another cigarette for himself. And with that, I mean that's the parting scene, right? You're leaving. V and Dewey and Manaya, the three of you walk away from the URL. And they don't do much to like chase after you. Like they don't have, you know, their muscle doesn't seem very interested in pursuing you any further. So Oka, where have you landed?
I think Oka has landed on the bridge, and probably in the time that it has taken for the party to get to them, they have tried to do some fucked up blood magic.
Okay, including?
Including, they have the soul sack still like kind of tied down with their blood. And they are going to try to use their blood curse of the fallen puppet, which the description says, when a creature within 30 feet drops to 0 HP, use a reaction to make a single melee weapon attack, blah, blah, blah. I can make whatever fallen creature has fallen near me make an attack on another creature, but I can also amplify it to make it move. What I want to try to do, since I have some of its blood, I have the head, and I have the soul sack, which to Oka is all of the components to
You wanted to talk?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to make you roll Arcana for that to see what the consequences of you using this ability outside of its intended function are. Because I don't know if any of you have Speak with Dead. What'd you get? You're muted.
I got a natural one.
Okay, so you do have inspiration. Do you want to mute yourself? Okay, so you do have inspiration. You can use that, or it'll work, but there will be dire consequences if you keep the nat one.
Dire consequences. Like,
That's the theme of today.
like how dire?
Like pretty dire, but it'll work.
Would it be fun?
I think-
Erica's like, do it.
I think it would be fun.
Yeah, Oka's totally gonna mess around with some blood magic.
Might fuck around. Might fuck around with some blood magic. Okay, sounds good. You land by the bridge, and you can sort of see, like, off to the side, all the escaped sailors and the dockhands and Trout and Tiger have sort of retreated to that fucked up ship of the URLs, you know, like close by. They're maybe like 30, 35 feet away. And you land on the bridge, and they're distracted. They're all like looking toward like the ruined bait house, so their eyes aren't on you. So what does it look like as you're performing this blood magic on the bridge?
Oh, it's a total mess. It's like the beginning of Full Metal Alchemist where you're like, why would you do that? That's the worst way to try to do that. That's what they're doing. They like have they have 1 foot on the soul sack with the blood rope holding it down. That's also attached to their blade, which is still out. And they're like attached to that, and then they're using like the rest of like. There's a lot of like, you know, like they're just like. And then they have the head, which they're trying to like reattach onto the soul bag, and like yelling at it, you know, like it's a nightmare. They're like yelling at it, like, speak, fucking speak. Where are they?
Okay. You compel this thing.
Also like asking like, who's in there? Who is in there?
You're trying to talk to the monster, right? Not the souls?
Whoever's listening.
Okay, sounds good.
I feel like the souls would also know what the monster knows if they're part of it. So anyone who will answer me.
Okay, the mouth begins to move, maybe surprising you, and a horrible noise comes out. It's not even like words at first. There's like a coughing, like an unplunging, like a drain has been unclogged suddenly, and then like words come out. Not in a language you understand necessarily at all, but even though the words that come out are like unknown to you, you understand their meaning, right? Like there's some sort of like psychic power or something that's allowing you to understand what this thing's trying to communicate to you. And this thing just sort of says, oh God, what would it say? I think this is the first time ever, Oka, that you have heard like an empty beast, is what you call it, speak. Like a beast that has been spawning after the cataclysm, talk and actually communicate.
We heard Shakor. Is it similar to that?
Shakor was an empty beast that was masquerading as a person. So this is not masquerading as a person. This is speaking to you like from its like true form. You know what I mean? And it says, you ask, what's the question you ask? What are you? Who are you?
Oka's just asking, like, where are they? Where are they hidden? Who's in there?
Okay.
The bottom of the ocean, inside the swirling, whirling pool.
And I need you to make a nature check.
Just an 11.
Okay, with an 11, you've heard of in your studies the swirling, whirling pool. Sounds like a whirlpool. You know, is what this thing's describing. Bottom of the ocean. It's likely talking about somewhere near the court. The term that comes to you is the raven's eye, which is sort of like a natural phenomenon that's existed for like a long time off the coast of the court, sort of in the middle of the boundary waters. It's sort of like a consistent whirlpool that sort of like has always been there. You know what I mean? And like ships give it a wide berth. Like you never want to go directly across it because you never make it out. You know, like tons of like sailor stories about it. This seems to be maybe what this voice is referencing. Do you say anything else to it?
Where is it? How do you get there?
Middle of the ocean.
And then there's that unplugging sucking noise again, and a completely different voice seems to come out. And it says,
swim, 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 little fishy. Swim, swim, swim through the empty.
I'm not fucking interested in the riddles. Tell me where it is. How do you get things out of it? Where are you? Are you stuck?
It is becoming quickly apparent to you, Oka, that you are not communicating with like any souls that used to be human. Whatever this thing is, was never human in the first place, or even a person, let's say, instead of human as a species. And a third voice comes out that just sort of says,
Look into the void for too long. Eventually we look back. A present for you, mother. A present for you, mother. A present for you, a paragon. And Oka, because of your nat 1, this head jumps at your face, right? And we see it like jumping at the camera. And
sorry, Scruff.
And as it leaps at you, you feel something go inside of you. Not like physically, but perhaps in a worse way, like spiritually or magically. You know, like something enters your soul. And I think as you're reeling back, like how are you responding, Oka?
I am using every part of any power that I have ever possessed to try to get that out of me.
Okay. But because you rolled it out 1, I don't think it works. You're like resisting, maybe you're like flailing, like staggering backward. And I think at this point, like Manaya, V, and Dewey have are catching up to where you saw Oka fly to. And all of you see like Oka like staggering backward, like maybe spasming a bit. And then it's, you know, the spasming stops as this thing has like wriggled wound its way, almost like parasitically, like around what feels like your soul in the center of your chest, beneath the scar that's like splayed across your sternum, and you can feel it like clutched on you, and you can feel Vinash around it, like very fucking pissed off. You know, like Vinash, you can feel it. It hurts, like it's like fighting against it, and you can feel this thing try to eat Vinash that's inside you. This thing is trying to consume Vinash, and it's like two forces like battling it out inside of you, in a very, very painful, like fucked up, screwy way. So Oka, how do you respond to this?
Oka starts screaming, I think. Like, they yell a lot, I think, but this is probably the scariest thing that's ever happened to them. And I think that they are like actually screaming in terror loudly. And they're like they kind of like rip their shirt down, you know, and they're like frantically trying to like touch and like willing Vinash to make it go away, kill it, get it out.
Okay, Vinash is not having this either, right? Do you like fall to your knees, maybe? In like a dramatic moment. Okay, you fall to your knees, and this thing is fighting Vinash, but it's been weakened, right? It's been weakened by you, by Manaya, by Dewey, by V, by everyone, and Vinash is eventually able, you feel it like, Vinash kills it, right? Like destroys it. But have you ever had something inside you die? Like in a very real way? It feels uncomfortable is sort of like an understatement, right? Like it's like insane pain just sort of radiates out like from your chest. And then as this thing dies within you, you can feel it like dispersing through your body, through all of like the, you know, like the magical like tendons that like sort of are stitching you together that like make Oka. And then as you fall into your knees, you receive a flash of visions that like flash in front of you. You see like a wing unfurled with like eyes all over it. And you recognize this wing immediately. It's the wing of that creature that's been recurring in your nightmares, right? And you see like an image of a fish eating a smaller fish, and as that like flushes by, you see the image of, let's see what would make sense here, of like an animal like deep in the forest giving birth, as like predators like stalk around it, like snarling, and that whisks by again, and you see the chasm, the Euclid chasm, and you see a huge comet across a starless sky, like shoot down and like disappear into the chasm, and like and you recognize this place. It's sort of where Dr. Aluso's homestead overlooks the chasm, except the cottage isn't there. And that is the final image that you get before we end the session.
Take all my fucking notes. Yeah, I think Oka is just screaming in terror, and like heaving on the ground, terrified.
Great. What a wonderful way to end our session. So that was episode 8 of Arc 2 of Transplanar RPG. Thank you all so much for tuning into our boss battle against the Hydra flayer. For those
Slaps Oka. This baby can fit so much bullshit in it.
Yeah, Oka, you're always getting like possessed or something. So our next session is going to be session 9. That's going to be next week, Saturday, March 6th, at 3 p.m. Central U.S. time right here. We would really appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, we have changed our programming, cut it back, so this is the only stream we have. So we'd really appreciate any shares, raids, follows, hosts, that sort of thing. That really goes a long way. Word of mouth really helps to grow our stream, and we really appreciate that from y'all. So with that, let's do quick introductions. We're also going to be raiding some folks. I think we will be raiding, let's see. GV_Anna is playing Celeste. So we might be giving them a raid. So I have been Connie. I've been your GM and executive producer. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can follow me on Twitter at @byConnieChong and on Tumblr at @DandDaddyIssues. I also run the Transplanar RPG Twitter account, which you can follow at Transplanar RPG. And I'm going to do introductions along to Max.
Hey, I've been Max. My pronouns are they, them. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Starchmonger, and also on Instagram at Stitchmonger. Buy a trans mask from me. I'll pass it to C.
Not me. Hi, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I am a dancer. Sorry, I have something in my eye also, which is why I'm doing this. I'm a dancer, digital artist, and streamer here on Twitch. I played Oka, who is also Vinash, who is also possessed by a horrible little empty beast. That was really fun. You can find me streaming tomorrow. You can find me streaming tomorrow here on Twitch at pi_sharp. I will be doing the raffle for my subs. So if you sub to my channel, I will do a little raffle, and you will have won, if you win, a free full color headshot from me, which I'll then draw on stream or later if you don't know what you want yet. But I will be streaming art tomorrow on that channel. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at pi_sharp_art or on Tumblr at pi-sharp, and I'll pass it along to Devin.
Hello, everyone. My name's Devin. I play the extremely anger Manaya. Extreme anger Manaya. You can find me on our Discord server. We have a wonderful community. I said it at the beginning, I'll say it again. We're trying to count up by 1 in the counting chat. We're trying to get to 420. As soon as we can do that, my life is complete and Manaya can die. Wait, no. So join the server and join the community. I'll pass it on to Erica.
Hello, everybody. I am Erica, she, her pronouns, and I've been playing Scherzo. You can find me, Erica New Girl, on every platform, including here on Twitch. On Monday, 2:30 Central, I will be jumping back into the world of Valheim. Watch me as I play Viking Minecraft, essentially. Speaking of which, a week from that Monday, I'll be playing Minecraft. OMG. Anyway, my life is terrible. And come hang out with me. I will pass it on back.
Awesome, wonderful. So with that, let's go right on to our raid. I dropped the raid message. Transplanar is plane shifting to your stream with our Manaya love emojis. So drop that as we raid GV_Anna for Celeste. They are great. I actually do not quite remember how we came to be following them, but Celeste is a great game, so we should go support that. So yeah, thank you all so much. We will see you next week, March 6th at 3 p.m. Central US time. See you in the Discord until then. We love you so much. Hang on for the raid, and peace.